dark it was going to be. So, of course, I got all the lights on in the truck to get everything working. And got a lot of information for everybody. I got a lot of responses, emails, just a whole bunch of stuff. So when I went out to the ranch to be out there to do the excavation with the excavator and the front end loader, my channel was sitting at about 260, and we've climbed to 275, and I think another one just subscribed about an hour ago. So for all of you that have subscribed to the channel or have watched the videos or just starting to watch the videos, I just want to take a moment and say thank you for subscribing and welcome to the family. And I hope you guys enjoy this channel. Nice to see you too, David. Hope everything's going good for you. So I'm just gonna start out right off with the bad news, get the bad news pushed, and then we'll go ahead and get updates, talking with the county, things that happened here at Hummingbird while I was gone, how everything went at the ranch, so on and so forth. So the bad news is about 3 days before I was done working at the ranch, of course, everybody knows Mongo. Mongo's the one that I lost. He was old when I got him. His brother Mud, they weren't brothers, but they were raised together. He had died last year after we got moved to the ranch. I got the animals overnight. And Mongo, as everybody sees in hikes, he wobbles and stumbles. So he was an old goat. And so ranch every day, every night, and watching him, I could tell that with his age, he was up there. And he would go out in the morning, be fine. Towards the evening, he would have a harder time getting around, and he'd lay down and not be out with the animals in the evening. And then morning time, get up again. We went to lunch, I want to say like 11, 12 o'clock at the Cotopaxi store. We came back. I started working. Didn't even think to look at the animals or whatever. And I see Ghost over there yelling. So I stop the loader, hop out the loader, go over, and Mongo was laying inside his shelter dead. I checked him to see if any animal hurt him, puncture holes, injuries, anything visual that I could see. And nothing that I could see visually. Not sure how long he was dead for. I was out there that morning because I brought all the animals out before lunch. Everybody hikes around. And then I work all afternoon, feed the ducks. And then after ducks and the geese have ate their feed, so the goats don't gobble it up and the ducks and geese don't get anything, bring the goats out in the evening. So sometime between when I put him back in for when we went to lunch, I want to say from there hours was the window. He must have laid down in there and either died of old age or something. I don't know. I had Minnie and Max with me. Mickey was on a chain. So I know it wasn't Mickey or anything like that. I appreciate it, David. He was he wasn't one of the originals, but I've had him for I think 2.5 years or 3 years, something like that, going on now. Uh, so it was bad loss, but at the same time, I got him when he was like 8 or 9. Goats lived to like 12 or 14, somewhere in that range. So you figure 2 years, he was either 10 or 11, and he had been out, just out on land before I got him for those 8 or 9 years. And then, of course, I had him. He had shelter and stuff like that. So that's the bad news. I also thought I had lost 2 geese. I did a head count on the ducks and the geese every day I was there. Because I started doing some fencing, and the coyotes are real strong right now because it's getting ready to go into cold season. And it turns out the geese have learned they can push their way through the fence. So they were up with the pigs, hanging out with the pigs and the turkey. So haven't lost any ducks, haven't lost any geese. And So anyhow, I'll just start from the beginning. So I, me and Pop, we got loaded up, grabbed everything we thought we needed, went over to the ranch Thursday night, 2 Thursdays ago, and decided we were going to camp because the equipment was supposed to be there at between 9 and 10 in the morning, which it got there 9:30 on Friday. And I totally found out that we were missing a bunch of. So we came back the next day. We got the stuff that we needed. We went back to the ranch. Well, that next night, it was a disaster. We ran out of propane on the generator. So, never even occurred to me to check out. And this is for those preppers that watch this channel. You may have everything in the world, but if you don't run live world situations and scenarios and test all your gear, test everything you have, then it does you no good. Because just like that, without propane, there was no heat. But I was still able to have heat because me being a partial prepper, I have bought a Caterpillar inverter that I can hook to a vehicle, and it will produce, I believe, 1,000 watts. It's a huge inverter. Real light. I mean, it's not that big, not heavy, but I mean, it produces a heck of a lot of power. So I was able to hook that up to the truck, and we ran the truck all night to have power, to watch movies, to run the heater and all that type of stuff. Well, then I found out that when we shut the truck off, the heat does not run without electricity. The heat is propane, but you've got to have electricity in order to run the fans and all that for the heating system. So we ended up leaving the truck run all night. That night it got down to 39 degrees. So we had some really cold nights out there. Totally shocked at the weather from there to here at the house. It's a lot colder up there, a lot sooner. Right now, here on the car monitor, it says 73 degrees out. And we didn't get above 48 degrees for the week and a half we were over there. So that was a disaster. So the next day, we come home to Hummingbird, which for the first, I think, 5 days, we came home every single day, which was ridiculous because I hate driving to start with, let alone an hour driving out at night, because you got to watch out for the deer, the antelope, the bears, the cows. You don't want to hit nothing, so you can't go as fast as you can during the day. During the day, I can make it in about 38 minutes. Nighttime, it takes an easy hour and 10 minutes, depending on the wildlife that are out. So, come home, grab a propane tank for a generator, take it back over. Found out that night that I forgot the propane adapter, because the 100-pound tanks don't have the screw-in knob. It has where you have to screw in the inner threads. So I had the adapter here at the house. So came back again the next day. Then we ran out of propane on the on the trailer for the heat in the refrigerator. So then the next day we had to go to Canyon City to fill up all the propane tanks. So it was one disaster after another. And it was a very, very rough start. I thought having that camper, it was going to make things super easy. It was going to be a lot nicer than the tent. And then with the cold and everything else, it was just a mess. But after 4 or 5 days, we got a hang of everything. I came home, I would get gallon jugs of water that I would fill up from my Berkey that I have. So we had clean water to cook with, for Pop's dentures, for him to clean them every night, for me to brush my teeth in the morning. Then I got underneath the camper, figured out how the septic tank and tubes and all that stuff worked. And I dug a hole, got the camper moved. I'm going to buy some plywood tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be in-town day. We're going to go town, do grocery shopping, get different things that we need. I'm going to buy some treated wood, 1-inch treated plywood, and treat it 4x4 post. I'm going to do 2 foot by 4 foot side pieces, and then one of them I'll cut in half so it will be a 2x2, so it will be a rectangle box. and then the last 2 by 4 foot piece, because plywood is 4 by 8, so I'll be able to get 4 pieces out of it. I'll do the 2 sides, the full sizes, then the 2 ends, the halves cut in half, and then the last piece will be the top. I'll cut a hole in it, put the pipe in, and let it drain into the hole. The hole will be open in the bottom, which will drain into the ground. Everything will break it down. It will be a self-composting septic tank type system like I did here at the house, but here at the house I did concrete and cinder blocks. But I'm not going to waste all that time. We need it now instead of later, because I'm sure the tank's filling up now with all the bathroom runs that Pop does and dumping water from the pond in and so on and so forth. So that's going to be another project coming up. But to the equipment, the excavator was the first thing I got. I got that for a week. Then I was going to wait and get the front end loader after I had that for a week. But it turned out I got everything done so fast, it was ridiculous. So I had my fingers crossed, hoping that the rental company didn't have somebody taking the front end loader, because I had it reserved for a week and a half later, which luckily I was able to get it about 4 days later. So the excavator sat there for about a day and a half, but still need it for when I move the dirt with the loader. Excavator, super easy to operate. It was like second nature. I knocked out the whole house and the garage in one day. I did the parking lot, the driveway, and the well the second day. And I did the extension up where Jeff had excavated for his house, and the farm area, and a little bit the pond the third day, or for half a day, and I was done with the excavator. The front end loader, for those of you that run front end loaders or run rock trucks, I give you guys all the credit in the world. It's easy to run, but with the vibration and the bouncing and the jolting and everything else, you cannot pay me $1 million in the world to run a rock truck or a front end loader out on one of these type of job sites, because my back is still hurting. I was taking 9 ibuprofens a day just to try to maintain and try to keep the pain to a tolerable level. But I mean, the upper part of my back, the lower part, my neck is more bulged than it was, and just horrible. And the crappy part is I didn't get everything done I wanted to get done with the loader, because there was just so much dirt to move from the house site that I'm going to have to run it again to flatten out the farm area and do all that. So that's pretty much it on the excavating and everything else. Like I said, I didn't get everything I wanted done. I got the parking lot completely done. The house, I didn't get all the dirt out. So whoever I go with, they're going to have to move some of the dirt out. Of course, I'll have the videos coming out. I got the well done. I put the culvert in. I have roughly 5 feet of water inside the well, and it's clear. I need to drain all that water out. I need to flatten out the bottom, the mud, the rocks, and put in about 6 inches of sand so it will filter. And then I need to build a lid so outside contamination, birds, mice, leaves, all that stuff doesn't go in. And then get it tested to see if it's drinkable or if I need to filter it. So worst case scenario, I'm going to just run a hose and a pump from there to the camper trailer so we have running water inside. Like I say, if it's not drinkable, it's not drinkable, but you know, be awesome to take showers, flush the toilet, use the sink, everything like that. So that's pretty much all on the excavation. The camping wise, I had a lot of emails and stuff like that. If I didn't get back to your emails, which I'll tell you right now, I didn't respond to anybody's email yesterday when I got home, because I was so tired, so exhausted. I just watched some movies and I fell asleep to one of my TV shows, Ancient Aliens. Woke up at like 1 o'clock, tried to finish it, fell asleep again. Woke up 6 o'clock, fell asleep again. It took me like 4 or 5 tries till I finally got the stupid TV show finally watched. But I read everybody's emails and responses, Facebook, things like that. And a lot of the questions was about the camping, how camping went, how Pop adapted to it. Um, did things go smoothly? Did they go rough? So on and so forth. Like I already said, the camping started out rough, but it turned out it got all the kinks and everything worked out with the propane. Everything went smooth. Uh, I did, however, have to run the generator all night because, like I said, the heater doesn't run without electricity. So I'm burning propane on the generator, propane on the heater. So I'm burning two fuels to get one heat source. A little ridiculous, but it kept us warm. Um, Pop, however, he did good. But the thing is, like, when my aunt came out with us, he was working in, I want to say, about a 2 week capacity. He could remember about 2 weeks worth of time, and that was it. Well, right before camping, he had been going down a little bit on the memory side. And then camping, he really went down. It was about one day, 1 to 2 days. And I mean, he's not having these bad days where he's cussing and yelling and throwing stuff and things like that. So that week and a half camping was amazing. I didn't have to deal with any of those issues. Him throwing stuff at me or telling me different cuss words and so on and so forth. So that part went amazing. The bad part is, of course, the doctor out here has told me also, and the 3 other doctors that have diagnosed him said that it will rapidly accelerate and then he'll become his vegetable. Well, I'm seeing that rapid acceleration because when my aunt came out with me, he was in that 2 weeks. Then he went down to like a week and a half, then to a week. Then he did really good. He was remembering like 30 days for a while and then went back down to around a week. And then camping, he's down to 1-2 days. Well, every day for the first 4 days or 5 days at the ranch, he would wake me up at like 5-6 in the morning, asking how we got there, what happened, where are we at, so on and so forth. Well, then he got adjusted to the trailer. He knew his surroundings. He did good. But even though we've been there for a week and a half, he still thinks we've only been there for a day to 2 days. So his memory is not that good. Then today, I was quizzing him because the doctors have all said to keep his mind sharp, always ask him different questions, time periods, month, year, when he got to Colorado, so on and so forth. Well, today, while I was quizzing him, he thinks he's been here for 4 years. So that definitely goes to show that he's still in the downgrade because he doesn't know time, so on and so forth. So besides that, his blood pressure is staying even. All the medicines are keeping him level. His depression medicine that the first doctor put him on and all the other 3 doctors have agreed with has kept him balanced. And like I said, for the week and a half, he wasn't any type of violent or derogatory or a pain in the butt. He was all right to deal with. I mean, now he's to the point he doesn't know how to throw his trash away. He doesn't know how to use the microwave. And he's in this habit, which is another habit of dementia patients and stuff like that, is they hide stuff, they move stuff, they mess with stuff. So like he was hiding the remote controls, couldn't find that. I go in the silverware drawer. He had his fingernail clippers in the silverware drawer. He had put his baseball caps in the freezer. Just different things you find all over. And then of course he's always losing everything, so I've got to go through trying to find everything. And then I came in the trailer the one time and he had the heat set to 100 degrees. So it was like a sauna when I walked into the trailer. So it's just working with that. But like I say, overall, he's doing good. The medication's keeping him leveled. We're now back here at the house, so he's got his television. I don't have to worry about changing DVDs every couple hours when he wants something new, and it makes it a lot easier. So, as I'm digging at the ranch, um, I get towards the end of the house, and I'm digging out, and I start seeing this shiny stuff, and I get excited. But then I'm looking, I'm like, you know what? This has to be pyrite. And for those of you that don't know, gemstones or metals or stuff like that, I used to invest in gold and silver and platinum and stuff like that back in 2011. Made some money, lost some money. So I'm like, nah, this got to be pyrite. Pyrite looks like gold. It's nicknamed fool's gold. So I call the state Colorado Geology Society out to check it out. It turns out I have a quartz gold vein running right through where my house is going to be. And I just got a letter yesterday, and they are estimating it to be worth $1.8 million. I've already talked to some different people. They're saying they will pay on the contract 1.2 to 1.4 million to do the excavation because it's right there on top. And so it looks like the ranch might just get built a lot sooner. And then I woke up because it would be so nice for something like that to happen. But we all know stuff like that doesn't happen. So for those of you that were buying it, like David, sorry to bust your bubble, but the ranch is going to take a little longer to build. But that was a good thought. I had thought about it because I ran into some yellow powder. It wasn't, it was some type of sandstone type mix. But I had been thinking the whole time, because there is gold running up through those hills, that who knows. But digging 8 feet down, you're not going to hit gold. You got to go more like 20 to 40 feet down before you even hit the gold layer. So it was a nice little dream to think about while I was digging, but no luck there. Won't be rich today, won't be rich tomorrow. So for those of my subscribers, I have some that have owned property here in Cotopaxi. I have a subscriber that just closed on property a few months back, and I've got a couple subscribers looking at buying here in Cotopaxi, and they've all wanted to know what I know about the codes, building regulations, everything like that. So I went. I know you were, David, and I had to come up with a good one. So I had thought about what I was going to come up with to get everybody, since it's me in a week and a half. So I thought long and hard how to start portraying it, and I figure I slowly roll into it later, and like I did to get everybody who's fallen asleep on me. So anyhow, I went to the county. I got all the building information. All of this has to be met. So I spent like an hour and a half down at the county building. And I found out that I will not be building my house, because Fremont County and the state of Colorado, you cannot build unless you are licensed and insured. So everything's got to be done through contracting out. So for those of you wondering what needs to be done in order for you to build on your land that you have had here, that you just closed on here, or you're looking at buying here, this is what you're going to have to adhere to. For my house being, I believe it's 16 or 1,800 square feet is what I figured out. Fremont County pulls the taxes along with all the fees immediately. So for my house being either 16 or 1,800 square feet, I can't remember off the top of my head, it's 30 by 60 interior dimensions. So whatever that math is, I believe it's 1,800, is roughly $4,000 just for the building permit, because they pull your taxes. So that's a huge chunk of money you got to have up front for the building permit before you can even get the building permit. Now, before you can apply for a building permit, you have to have all this addressed. So I'll go over it real quick for those of you that have been wondering. The first thing you have to do is you have to have an address. In order for an address, you have to have a driveway inspection slash state highway access permit, and you have to have a contracting company to put the driveway in. So once you have the driveway put in, it's inspected, and you have the permit, you can then file for an address. The address is $75 plus another fee that they decide on once the driveway and all that's done. Then once you have the address, you have to have evidence of ownership. So a copy of the recorded deed. You need a residential energy conservation thing, which basically means you have to have electric on the property. Flood elevation certificate. You have to pay for the flood damage prevention permit accompanied by a properly prepared elevation certificate, and all that's required through FEMA, flood insurance, rate maps, and so on and so forth. You have to have evidence of water, which means you have to have a water tap, which means the well is drilled, the well construction, the test report, and pump installation report. So you have to have the well completely done, all that put in prior to even getting a building permit. You have to have evidence of sanitation. So you have to either be tapped into city sewer, which of course way out there will be a septic system. So you have to have the septic system put in. You also have to have a perk test of the land, the ground, and all that type of stuff. You need a plot plan. It has to be prepared and go through planning and zoning. You need a foundation designed by a registered design engineer professional. You need construction details, which details must identify structural components such as floor support beam sizes, floor joist size, the spacing, wall stud sizes and spacing, header sizes for all openings, roof assembly components, engineering, truss manufacturer, etc., etc. So, and then that's not it. You need the floor plan, dimensions, walls, habitable floor space, all that type of stuff. And you need a manufacturer's engineer truss design certificate. So all of that stuff has to be done before I can even apply for a building permit. So the electric people came out, or the marker guy came out and spray painted, flagged the area for the electric company. Then the electric company came out a few days ago. They said I'm fifth on the list, so within about another 2.5 to 3 weeks, they'll be out there to put the electric in. So that's one step. So the next step is I've got to have a well put in. I've got to have the septic put in. And then I need to find a builder because I can't do any work because I'm not licensed or insured with the state of Colorado. So everything's got to be subcontracted or contracted out, whatever. So I got a whole list of names, numbers, companies from the county. And I'm going to have to go through, call different ones, figure out who I'm going to go with. And basically, if I get the foundation put, the walls, the roof, the inside walls, the electric, the plumbing, and the propane, then I can do all the finish work because you don't have to be licensed and insured and all that to do your own interior work. But the plumbing, electric, all that type of stuff, propane, fireplace, owned by a licensed professional in order to get a occupancy title at the end of the building. With the building permit, you have 12 months to have the building completely finished, inspected in order to get the occupancy title, or you have to pay so much for freedom in that state. Yes. Tell me about it, David. You know, wetlands is a man's land. That all died back in the 1800s when they got rid of the allodial title, because no matter where you live in the United States, you don't own anything, because if you don't pay taxes, you lose it. Allodial titles went out, I believe, in 1869, and the allodial title gave you ownership of the land where you never paid taxes after you had it paid off. Now we're all tenants, we all pay taxes. You don't pay taxes, you get thrown off the king's land, or you go into the king's jail, and that's the end of that. So that's pretty much it on the building. I talked with a guy down the road that's getting his house built, so I got some names and numbers from him. I found somebody to do the property lines. It's $160 an hour, something like that. Yep, that's true, David. Welcome to the USSA, or America, or whatever you want to say. But it is what it is. You got to do what you got to do, or go to a different country. I do have different subscribers that live in South America and different places throughout the world. And different places give you allodial titles. That's why I looked at Ecuador, South America, before I decided on Cotopaxi, Colorado. But then they had a volcano erupt, and it was called Mount Cotopaxi, which was crazy because I didn't even assimilate that happening to when I moved to Cotopaxi. So that just goes to show I should be in Cotopaxi, because I looked at Alaska, I looked at Montana, and I looked at Ecuador, and I ended up Cotopaxi, Colorado. So it is what it is. For me to do what I want to do, I'm going to have to pay. I'm going to have to do everything by the books, because I want to open the petting zoo and everything like that. So let me think. While you're in here, David, do you have any questions? I'm trying to think of other topics that I haven't covered. Not sure. Oh, let's see. The hugelkultur bed here at my house, for those of you that were wondering why I didn't grow anything this year, it's because of the drought with no water. All right, I'm going to have to cut this video off. My phone is overheating. It says it's shutting off in 20 seconds. So I'll be back with you guys tomorrow. I'll do another live video and finish up, because there is a couple other things I just thought of, and I'll talk to you guys.